we'll hop over to the big Xbox showcase. So this was the other like really big one of the big two.
One a lot of people were waiting for compared to.
A lot of people were waiting for. We'll go through it, but I will say overall, it's probably their best show in a decade.
Well, save that until we can talk about. Let's go through everything first, and then we'll talk about it.
Well, I'm going to go through it in order. A lot of stuff was shown here. Things that, and we'll go over dates and stuff. So a lot of people were going back and forth, like, what are they going to open with? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? The reality was what everybody should have expected. It was Call of Duty.
It was either going to open or close.
I mean, obviously they closed with Call of Duty as well because they had that like 25-minute presentation. But you're going to open with Call of Duty because that's a huge deal for Xbox this year. They now own Call of Duty. So I will say from the 2-minute like campaign trailer, the story looks good. As someone who has not played a Call of Duty campaign,
like the weirder aspect of it and like the alternate timeline history type stuff, and
it looks cool.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is it'll be on Game Pass, so I'll just play it there. And they did confirm. So there was a rumor floating around after the showcase that it was going to have an install of 309 gigs. They did debunk that and say, so they came out and said they will announce the install size when it gets closer to release, but it is not 309 gigabytes.
It couldn't be.
So there's no way.
That almost wouldn't fit. Like, do they have a 500 gig system? Is either one of those?
The Series S is 500.
Then it couldn't be 300 gigs because
I know. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Wow.
As we continued with some banner trailers here, Doom the Dark Ages, which was kind of leaked ahead of time that it was going to be called the Dark Ages, but that was officially announced with a just fantastic trailer. It is a prequel to 2016 Doom. I would tell you, like, as I watched it, because I had this conversation with my buddy Ross, I couldn't tell you what the story is because like it's going to medieval times, but it's still futuristic because he's getting shot down from a fucking spaceship. But he has a gun that crushes skulls for ammo. And
it's just medieval hell is what it is.
Is what it is. I like one thing I really liked about it, it kind of reminded me the way enemies run at you, because there's like, obviously this will only be on PS5, Series X, and PC. This isn't going to be on the old systems. So they have a lot more horsepower to work with, but there are a lot more enemies running at you, which is a little bit more for Doom. It almost reminded me of Serious Sam at times in that trailer.
I did get that feel a bit too.
Same.
Like
especially
a lot of
that part where like you're going down like kind of like a corridor between two rocks, and like guys were just pouring out.
They're just funneling in. Like, you have a pretty badass shield thing now. Like everything about it, you can ride it like a futuristic dragon.
Yeah, it's just
it just looks fantastic. So that is 2025. They showed. I was excited it was here, but it was a CG trailer. State of Decay 3 kind of poked its head out to remind people it still exists.
It's gonna take a while.
No date. But they did confirm that the Coalition. So the Coalition is kind of turned into a support studio. Because you'll see they showed up.
Yeah.
They show up at the end of a lot of trailers at this showcase, but they've been helping out Undead Labs. They showed off the Starfield Shattered Space expansion, which looks awesome. Spooky,
that game
weird
story, like to focus on. Like the game has a story, but this is a very like direct experience you're going to play in this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it looks creepy.
It does. So, it looks weird.
It looks really weird. They showed off a Fallout 76 trailer for whatever that expansion that's coming out, and then announced, I think, early next year you'll be able to play as a ghoul.
Yeah, and the big thing about this expansion is it's the first map expansion where it's a part of the game. Because when they've added like Atlantic City and the Pit and stuff in the past, you choose to go there, so you kind of like load into a thing. This is more of the just like the open world added to the game.
Okay.
So it is a whole new area. Like the new season just reset. I did the update. I haven't played it yet, but more quests, more stuff to do, more things to explore, more enemies.
Yeah.
Right.
And then playing as a ghoul is interesting, but that means I'd have to start a new character, so I'm not necessarily interested.
One of the coolest, like, unexpected trailers at the showcase. You were a big fan of this too, Dan. Expedition 33.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Really cool looking RPG that had a really unique like storyline from that trailer. That looks awesome.
That was what got me first. Like, she paints the number and everybody that age dies, and you're like, oh shit. And then it's counting down, so they're running out of time to stop her. And then I was like, okay, I can get on board with that. And then the character designs are good. The game looks really good.
The combat looks really good.
I told you, is Lost Odyssey vibes.
Yeah. And I think when we heard a couple weeks ago, we heard that rumor of like 360 era JRPG fans would be looking for something at this showcase. This has to be the game they were talking about. It has
to be the main one they were talking about.
It has to be.
But I'm very interested in that.
I will say this is one of the games that after the showcase they did say is also coming to PS5.
Yeah.
So this is not an Xbox exclusive.
Definitely one of the more exciting ones.
Yeah. They showed an extended gameplay footage of South of Midnight. Which I also think looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still I don't know what the girl's magical powers are.
I don't know, man. All I'm saying is someone who's played Forspoken New Orleans. That's kind of the vibe I got. Just
that was the vibe. I will say, and I've not played Forspoken, but I did get a little bit of that vibe of it. But I think I'm willing to give it a chance because it's on Game Pass. But I think it looks cool.
The art is neat. I do like
the art is neat. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get used to the cutscenes having the stop motion feel. But then when you play the game doesn't have that. It's very clearly running at 60. So. But I thought I like this setting of it, so I'm willing to give it a chance. They had to show a World of Warcraft trailer here because they own Blizzard, even though there's no console port.
You're gonna,
I thought there's a brief moment where I thought, well, maybe this is where that finally gets announced, but no.
I don't know. At this point, I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
You don't think so?
It's too far gone at this point to just put that in there now.
New trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which looked awesome. There was a leak date after the show of November 17th, but then they came out and said that was debunked. But I feel like it probably is this fall.
It's kind of weird this was at an Xbox show, right?
It is a little weird, yeah. I thought that too. Because I'm pretty sure when it got announced, it was at the State of Play, right?
It was definitely in a PlayStation show when it was announced.
So very weird that it was at this showcase, but I mean, it continues to look fantastic. They did put out a 10-minute behind the scenes video with David Hayter that I thought was pretty cool because I watched that as well after the showcase. One thing that I thought this showcase did really well was they didn't spend a insane amount of time on old games that have already come out. So you did get your Sea of Thieves season 13 trailer, but they didn't spend 10 minutes on it. You know what I mean? It was a 90-second trailer. Hey, season 13's coming July 25th.
Yeah, and that's more of a we just released this on PlayStation. Here's the new content for it. Kind of, it's still going, kind of a thing.
Another Game Pass game that I had forgotten about was announced for a while. It was announced a while ago, went underground, and finally showed up again here. That Flintlock game. Which I'm trying to remember back when it was originally shown, but I feel like it's gone under a major makeover.
I don't remember it looking like this, but maybe it did, and I just wasn't paying attention.
It's out July 18th, so around the corner. It's a Game Pass game, so I'll try it for sure. But it just I don't remember it looking like this a couple years ago, so kind of just had a makeover. But it looks interesting, so. It's from the makers that made that Ashen game. I thought that was a pretty decent game. So this looks cool. Age of Mythology Retold is coming out in September. That'll be on console and PC.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the moment of this showcase. The banner of this showcase.
All right, let's preface this. We talked about it last time, and I was all but convinced it was dead.
We both were.
Right.
We were both proven wrong.
Yes. I'm happy to be proven wrong.
I'm happy to be proven wrong as well.
To be proven wrong.
Perfect Dark is real.
It's a game.
It's a game. From this trailer, it looks amazing. Highlight of the show.
Right. I'm going to temper my expectations a little bit.
Yeah.
I still believe that. Well, I am very happy it has been revealed, and they did show me what the game is going to be like.
Yeah.
I need to see it to believe it at a certain point. It's been 20 years.
No date.
Right.
I also think that this is a 2026 game. That would make sense.
We talked about it. I said it's probably at best a year from now.
I did watch the interview with Phil Spencer after, and that was one of the questions I asked him was, why it took so long to show Perfect Dark. And the big answer, obviously, there was because at the same time they were building this game, they were also building that brand new studio. Right. So that took longer. So that's kind of the answer.
And it's definitely not a shooter like the first two are.
It has more going on.
It feels more. We talked about it. It feels almost like a Deus Ex, kind of a game, which is a cool way for that game to go.
It is.
It's very clearly. I don't even want to say it's a prequel. I don't think it has anything to do with the other two games. I think this is perfect.
I think it. Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it's kind of just a soft reboot of the
story. The story doesn't fit with 0 or 1. So
not with what they showed.
No. So that's fine. Like if this is just we're restarting it, it's been 20 years since we got 0.
That's fine.
Like it's fine. We can start over. I'm thrilled. I think it looks good. There's a lot of shit going around with the way she looks. I think she looks fine.
That's the other thing I'll say. So like a lot of people are coming out and bitching about how she looks and it's all has to do with the jawline. Yeah. I've seen what the actress looks like. They actually, I think today they came out and announced the actress. Mm-hmm. She's a British actress. It's fine. Yeah. She looks fine. Of the characters that we have talked about are female characters that have been uglified. I don't think she's one of them.
No,
she looks like a normal person.
Yeah, it's not as bad as some of these other games in the past have been with like Spider-Man, and like Star Wars and
Fable,
Forspoken, where just things seem off about those characters.
Star Wars is a good example too, because we've seen what that actress looks like.
Right. I think to be fair, I still think a lot of the Star Wars one is the hair. It looks just bad.
It's bad.
But Perfect Dark, I saw that. I didn't even think 2 seconds about it when they showed her.
No, not at all. I didn't think of you. I was like,
Joanna Dark.
It's Joanna Dark.
Yeah.
She got the right haircut.
Very excited. Very excited
for that. They showed just a CG trailer for the Diablo expansion, Vessel of Hatred. Comes out October 8th.
That's all you need to show for a Diablo.
Same day as Silent Hill 2 remake.
Well, one of those games can be better. Guess which one?
Yeah. No, and I agree. Like that right now, that's all you need to show. Like people will be excited about Diablo this. That game has picked up immensely, at least on the Xbox, with being on Game Pass. Their numbers are back up a lot higher from what I was reading. So it's pretty cool. We got a new Fable trailer. They showed more Fable. I will say from this trailer, I just made fun of at least how that chick looks, but she looked better in this trailer than last year's. I also think that this was a better trailer than last year's. So
I think it leans more into Fable is a silly game too.
Yes.
It doesn't take it
the humor is
seriously.
There.
Yeah, and that's an important thing for a Fable game.
That's an important thing because if it doesn't have that humor, then what is Fable?
A generic
another generic RPG.
Yeah,
exactly. It needs to have that like off British humor.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, and that's it had
stuff. Yeah, it does.
Thought it was a fantastic trailer. It has a release window of 2025. I would say that's probably fall. That seems like your big holiday game, right?
Right.
So this was the one I missed because I think this is when I went to the bathroom because I remember I had texted you and said, man, it was nice not to have any 5v5 shooters. You're like, there was one at that. Frag Punk.
Because I was upset because it looked cool.
Until you found out it was a 5v5 shooter.
Fuck again.
Okay.
My God, man.
Yeah, nothing to say on that one. This is where we kind of dipped a little bit into indie territory. But I also say, like, this showcase, they didn't really go hard into indies.
Not in particular. There's a couple tiny ones here and there, and some of them look kind of neat.
Yeah, Winter Burrow was one of them. The one that I thought looked cool was this music one, Mixtape.
Really cool.
A fantastic music soundtrack.
The soundtrack alone is enough to be like
interesting.
Like, play the game.
I'll at least check that out. That Game Pass.
Yeah.
And then I guess not really an indie game. Well, before we get to that, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So just an update for that. Be out in November. Square Enix is bringing Life is Strange double exposure, so they're bringing back the original character
Max.
from the first game, Max, which is cool.
Right.
So
and,
that's the only one I ever played.
I love the first one, and I just wasn't interested in 2 or the one with the True Colors. It's just
this I would be interested in.
I might go back. Yeah.
We got our new look at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Still holding on to the 2024, but no like hard date.
Yeah, that might. We were talking about it. It's like that could be a January
of the two.
game.
Yeah, I was gonna say of the 2 planned 2024 games, it wouldn't surprise me if you see this slip into January or February.
Right.
And that's fine.
Well, and this was like it was nice to see more, but it was just a CG trailer. And,
yeah, like I'll say,
at this
like
point, stop. Like, don't show me anymore. You're just gonna ruin it if you show me more.
It just looks like it looks exactly like what you want it to be.
Yeah, it looks
for Indiana Jones.
It's an Indiana Jones game.
Yeah,
I'm done.
It's an Indiana Jones story,
Anything else.
I will say, like, Troy Baker's voice definitely goes in and out from being Troy Baker and a Harrison Ford clone, but it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because the more I think about it, like, what would you rather? Would you rather somebody sounding the right age or paying Harrison Ford an assload of money?
I do not. I told you I don't want Harrison Ford.
Exactly.
But I feel like we have enough of him in movies. We could AI that shit. Right? It's an Indiana Jones thing. Just feed all 5 Indiana Jones movies into a machine. He's probably said all these words before.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not put down by the Troy Baker. I know.
It's funny to me because I can definitely hear Troy Baker, but I think as you're playing the game, I don't think you'll care.
I think you'll lose it and just It's Indiana Jones. I think it'll be fine. They showed that Mecha Break game here again as well. So again, as I said before, there are too many fucking samurai games at this point. We announced another Souls-like action RPG samurai type game. This one had more of a horror element to it, but Wu Chain Fallen Feathers. Again, not that I don't think it looks cool. I just there are too many samurai games at this point. I think it's an overplayed. Avowed is the other big 2024 game. It did leak after the showcase that most likely this will be out November 12th. That date makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a fall. They did also put out a behind the scenes video, like 30 minutes with a lot of footage of this game. It looks fantastic.
You had a great
it is. Yeah. The best way I can describe Avowed is it is like the outer worlds was like Fallout / I guess you could say Starfield.
It was basically
yeah. And this is very much like Oblivion. Their version of Oblivion.
Right.
It looks great.
It does.
It really looks good. They've refined the combat. Combat looks much better this time around than it did last year.
No, if you combine what I saw here plus the stuff from that special thing they did a couple months ago, where they talked about the NPCs and all that other this game just seems better. Good. It just seems like what I would want out of that style of game.
It seems more polished than what we saw at the beginning of the year too.
I think what's nice, and why your analogy is good, because if Outer Worlds was New Vegas, but the thing about Outer Worlds compared to that is it's focused. It's not as wide open. It's not as
and they've said that this won't be
kind of a thing.
It will be open world, but it's not going to be as open as a Skyrim or an Oblivion.
It's nice to have a game that is similar to those games, but is condensed into a more driven experience. Like Outer Worlds, I always felt like I was playing through a story. In Vegas, it's like, hey, this guy shot you and you woke up. Here, play the game. You're like, oh, okay.
Well, and Obsidian is known for their storytelling and writing, and that obviously translated really well in Outer Wilds or Outer Worlds. I always get those two confused. But I think that's going to be the same case here with Avowed. The one thing that's easy to forget, though, is this game does take place in the universe of that. I keep wanting to say Pathfinder, and I know that's wrong. You know what I'm talking about. There's two of them. Not Path of Exile. It's the same. It's a Diablo type game. Baldur's Gate type. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I don't remember the name.
There's two. Pillars of Eternity.
That's it.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. I cannot. That's probably one of my more anticipated games of this year.
Yes.
So I look forward to it. I hope that the November 12th date is
To
real.
me-
I was actually hoping a little sooner, but
To me, as someone who doesn't have an Xbox, that is a reason to get one.
yeah, no, I can agree with that. After they showed that, they kicked over to Rebellion, makers of the Sniper Elite series. They have a new game that it just looked weird. They didn't show much of what it is. Atomfall. It kept switching
Fallout?
around like time periods, right?
It's like British Fallout is what
yeah,
it's
kind
called.
of.
And
Which
it looks good. It looks
yeah,
a
like
cool game.
as someone who did not like Sniper Elite 5, I thought it was a giant step back for that franchise. I'm glad they're not just making Sniper Elite 6.
Right.
That they're trying
Cool to
something
be
different.
something.
Yeah.
You can't
So,
on the Fallout hype one.
yeah. They showed a brief trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows here. I mean, I've said before I'm not interested just because I'm tired of
I
samurai
will
stuff.
say that, Matt, this is probably the closest you're going to get to a Tenchu game. Because the girl character
Yeah.
is definitely like stealth and knives and like throwing weapons and stuff.
I'll be honest, when the trailer first started playing, I legitimately had forgotten that game has 2 characters.
Yes, me too.
And I thought for a brief moment, I'm like, are they finally making Matt's fucking Tenchu game
Yeah.
with this
I think
woman?
that's what.
And then that dude came bumbling in. I was like, oh no, it's
I knew that
Assassin's
wasn't
Creed.
what it was, but it definitely gave me vibes.
Yeah,
of that.
absolutely.
So I think this is as close as you're going to get.
I mean, we remake everything. Why can't we just remake that? Like, just give it to me, man.
I think we looked it up, and the rights are held by somebody who just doesn't give a damn anymore, didn't we? I forget what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. Still shitty.
Another game I don't think people should sleep on. I think we're forgetting that it's coming out, but it's September 5th. Stalker 2 is coming out. I think it looks fantastic. Remember, this game got delayed because of the war going on in Ukraine. So obviously they had that. That's a very extenuating circumstance. That's why that game's been delayed for a while. But I think it's shaping up to be really good, and that's another good Game Pass get. And one I don't think people should sleep on. I think it looks good.
I think a lot of people will play that, especially it's Game Pass.
Because it's on Game Pass.
It's going to get played a lot.
I never played the original.
I never did either.
And at this point,
that was all PC stuff. Like
so they did put out a remaster recently on both consoles that you can get.
Yeah, I saw that, but I think there was something weird about like it was too expensive for what it was. So people,
it's $60,
yeah.
which it should probably be less than that. And then before we got our one last thing, this is probably the one like really dumb part of the showcase. At least I thought.
And I laughed about it because last time somebody asked us, I remember emailed in and said, "Do you think there'll be new consoles?" And we were like, "No, no way." And
so
we're right and wrong at the same time.
There were so there was hardware announcement. It's not the hardware, like it's not the handheld that people want them to announce. It's not
refresh.
No, it is. You're getting a white all digital Series X, 1 terabyte. You're getting a black Series S. I believe that's 1 terabyte as well.
There's a white S, a white X.
Oh, that's right.
And then
my personal favorite, the Galaxy Edition Series X, which is black with white specs on it. But it does have green. Like the one thing I thought was cool is the controller, because it's a black controller, but the back of it is green.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool color profile. But that has a 2 terabyte SSD. It is $600.
Here's the problem. I don't understand the pricing on this because a 2 terabyte disc version X is $600. A 1 terabyte digital version X is $450.
I don't get it either, because you cannot sit here and tell me that. I guess the way they're doing it would be the drive probably costs $50 to them.
Why
and then
not,
it's $100 for the SSD.
But why not make the 2 terabyte version not have a disk drive?
I think that's the mistake here. That's the big mistake here. Is that
buy, because I've talked to you about this, and when I buy an Xbox, I don't think I'm buying physical games for it ever again.
No, at this point, it's a Game Pass system.
It doesn't exist. So if it's a Game Pass unit, I would want the space, but I don't need the drive. You're telling me you couldn't give me a 2 terabyte black Series X digital for $500? You could have.
Yeah.
Well, also that gets to my point where, like, so before this showcase started, they all of a sudden all these retailers were like, "Hey, the Series X is $400 today." And I thought, because this is before the showcase era, is like, maybe we're finally doing it. It's been 4 years. It is time. In my opinion, it's time. It's time to drop the prices of these fucking systems. It's been 4 years. But no, it was a special deal for one day. Because if you came out and you said, okay, the Series X is $400, you drop everything $100. Realistically, that's what you do. And you put out a 2 terabyte system at $500, that's fine. But that thing is $600.
The thing is, do you want to be caught buying that system when there's a chance they could announce
a Pro
at the drop of a hat? They could in October or November, they could just say Pro console comes out.
We still have Gamescom in August.
There's a world where that could happen because we know that they're working on a system because that leaked last year. There's no way I'm spending $600 on something that might get replaced in 6 months.
But I also, again, I think it is a disservice. If you're going to make an all digital Series X, that's fine. It needs to have a bigger hard drive.
Right. That's why they should be flipped. You want to make
they do this every time with these digital systems. Like the digital system should have more storage every single time.
Also, how is a digital X the same size as an X with a drive in it?
Right? Like, remember the leaked documents where they showed like a redesign where it was like more like a cylinder? Yeah.
Like, where that's supposed to be?
I don't know what they're doing, but
put another heat sink in it. Do that.
Final announcement of this show. An awesome announcement. And what I loved about it was that while it was something that you expected, it wasn't what you expected at the same time.
You and I would constantly say a COG comes up and they put a 6 in it.
So I thought either one of two things. It was going to be a Gears 6 teaser, not really show anything, or an announcement of a Gears remaster trilogy.
I don't think that would have been that when it came up at the end. I didn't think that was it because I didn't think that was enough to close a show.
No, and that's what I thought they would do in that case is announce a Gears collection, and then after that's announced, oh, and by the way, coming later, and then show like the little 6 with the cock.
Yeah.
But we're not getting either. We're getting Gears of War E-Day, which is set 14 years before the events of it's year 0. There's a book you can buy a book. I actually have the book somewhere for Emergence Day. So I'm super excited about this though, because you get to go back, you get to play with Marcus and Dom again. Dom's there. They played the notes of Mad World.
Yes,
was enough to pull you back in and be like, oh, like that was a huge fucking moment, you know, when that trailer hit. And because that was the first thing I noticed when Marcus gets pushed to the floor, like, oh no, he's younger.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really young. Like he's like fucking baby faced here. That's why I was like,
basically.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a smart decision, but the other reason why I think it's a smart decision is because I can almost guarantee you this will be on PlayStation, because this is how you get PlayStation audiences that have not played Gears of War into Gears of War. Hey, here are these great characters that you may have heard about. This is their first story. So, but I'm super excited about that. The other thing that came out today, and I'll say it now, I think I have it down a little bit later, but Tom Warren, one of the many people that has their ear to the ground for rumors and stuff, has actually heard that game might come out earlier than expected, as in before Fable.
I could see that.
So that game might be a lot further along than we think.
I could see that.
But again, you have to it's been 2019 was Gears 5.
And they're different games with a different scope, especially since this one is ditching open world. It's going to be Gears 1 style of gameplay. It's meant to be more horror type stuff, which is good. That's what the game needs.
It does. Absolutely.
So I could see a world where this game comes out sooner for sure than Fable. That's a different
yeah, and then they had their Call of Duty presentation. I didn't watch the Call of Duty presentation, but again, overall, I think, I thought it was a fantastic showcase. We got 2 emails I'm going to read, and we can go on about it a little bit more, but let me go ahead and get through those first. So first email we got comes from Peter from Cincinnati, Ohio. Hey dudes, wow, what a showcase. After that bad PlayStation State of Play and the Summer Games Fest being a dud, my expectations were at an all-time low, and that has to be the best Xbox showcase they've ever had. Fable, Perfect Dark, Gears of War E-Day, Avowed, Indiana Jones, South of Midnight, Doom the Dark Ages, hell, even Call of Duty. It was just banner after banner after banner. They've really got a great roadmap lined up. So I guess they were just down, not out. It's a good Gears reference.
Sure.
Then the other email we got is from Tyler from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Howdy, 572 Grood. Is it just me, or am I the only one that's still feeling jaded after the Xbox conference? Yes, they brought the games, and yes, the games sure do look good, but this is now the third E3 in a row where they've had a pretty great showcase, with this one probably being the best. You have very few 2024 dates, and everything else seems to be either 2025 or not dated at all. It just seems like it's more par for the course for Xbox. I just find it incredibly hard to get excited for them when they time and time again don't deliver these games in a timely manner, and then when we end up getting a huge disappointment like Hellblade 2, 7 years and it's a five-ish hour cinematic experience. Ridiculous. What do you all think?
So,
you go ahead first.
So I specifically wanted you to read these after we talked about was at the show
because they're two contrasting opinions,
opposite viewpoints. And
yeah,
Matt, I'm not 100% sure where you land on it, but I think Kyle, you and I land on the opposite sides of it. I think you're coming out of it, you're more excited about. Like
I'm excited about the games that were announced, right. But I still, at the same time, right. I have to temper some expectations because you look at certain things and you go, okay, is Fable really going to hit in fall 2025, or is that going to just become spring 2026?
So we mentioned this last time when we were kind of doing predictions, and I told you, and this is why I agree with the second email more. Great. Like, yes, it was amazing. Perfect Dark's a real game. The Gears thing is cool. It's a great idea. A Valve will create Fable, all the stuff. I don't fucking care. They do this every time.
Yeah.
And then stuff either doesn't come out, or it's delayed, or it fucking sucks. And this happens every single time.
Yeah.
This is probably the best show in recent memory. I'm sure I could probably go back 5 or 6 years and find one that was slightly better or just more exciting, but they have such a horrible track record.
I was going to say the Keanu Reeves one is the one I think of.
Yeah, and that was a
pretty good one. But it's like 2018, I think.
Look at last year. What came out? Nothing. Redfall. Starfield.
Redfall, Starfield, yeah.
But this is very you have me excited. Like it's that meme from Django Unchained, you have my attention or whatever.
Yeah.
But
you have my curiosity, now you have my attention.
Until this stuff comes out, I don't care. Yeah. I just really don't. Indiana Jones, no date. Probably next year. Okay. I think we even said last time where if you're going to show me games that exist from between now and the next show, I'm okay with it. But if you're starting to show me stuff that is beyond that or 26 or 20, then I just really could care less.
The one exception I'll give for it is Perfect Dark, simply because I just wanted to see that it was a real game.
And that may
now that I know that, take your time with it.
That might be the kind of thing where they had to do something, because lately the buzz on it was, well, we showed 2020, we showed her in front of a pyramid. That doesn't even look like it's fucking.
I 100% think that's the reason why it was shown here is because they've taken so many L's recently, right? Like I told you, what was the analogy I used? They've stepped on so many fucking rakes this year that I think somebody smartly somewhere was like, we need to just show Perfect Dark.
Any goodwill they had before this show was gone. I think Microsoft approval rating amongst most video game people is probably the lowest it's been in a while. And it's funny
for sure.
And buying Activision is a reason people hate them now. It's because they feel like it's going to ruin a lot of stuff, even though we both know, and I think a lot of people realize it's not really going to change almost anything. All of that stuff.
You're going to get some games on Game Pass. That's
right. And some of it's going to be on Game Pass. But yeah, I love it, but I don't want to get hurt again and again and again and again and again.
No, I understand.
So I guess for me, I'm in the middle.
Okay, perfect.
While I enjoyed looking at everything that came out, and all of it looks pretty good. I mean, all of it looks great. I'm in the middle because how many of these games are actually going to release, number one, in the time frame that they said they're going to, and then number two, how many are going to release actually worth it?
Right.
That's the biggest pet peeve right now. And that's one of the reasons why I think I told you, Kyle, or maybe I haven't. I'm hesitant to move towards the next generation of gaming. Like, I'm still playing on the Xbox One and my PS4 because everything releases with a patch. Everything releases where issues or errors. And every single game, like every big thing, like could happen. Like you save issues, and it's just like, yeah, great. I'm glad you got it. I'm glad these games are coming out. But then, like, I'm sick of paying $60 to get $70 to get a game that just doesn't work. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why these showcases are cool. Yeah, I love seeing some of the games that come out, but realistically, nothing is like speaking to me that I absolutely right now need to move to this generation of gaming, because I'm just so hesitant that are any of these games going to release complete, or are they all going to have problems?
The other thing of it too is, like, I don't have an Xbox. This didn't make me go buy one because I know better.
Well, that's the thing that I think maybe was a little bit of a failure here is like, okay, sure, this is the Xbox showcase, but we know now how successful putting some of these Xbox games out on the PlayStation have been. I mean, I have it down later here. I mean, I'll bring it up now, but Sea of Thieves was the number one selling game last month for PlayStation. Number one on the charts. Sold a shit ton of copies. So that kind of proven track record with those 4 games they chose, they're not going to stop putting these games out on PlayStation or Nintendo. They're going to put their games wherever they want. So this showcase, well, it showed a lot of games. It didn't show someone like Dan, who doesn't own an Xbox Series X, a reason to go out and purchase one.
When do I need to buy it?
And I don't. And I also don't think it did a good job of showcasing people that already own one. Hey, like, they didn't put a line in the sand or anything. It just was, here's all these games. That's great. We still don't know what ones are going to be exclusive, what ones are going to go over to PlayStation. We don't know that. Like, obviously, I mean, you and I both agree, Dan, like, Indiana Jones will be on both systems
at some point.
Not day one, but Indiana Jones will come to PS5.
I think Indiana Jones, since it's a Game Pass game, they're going to see how it does on Game Pass. Eventually, people are going to stop playing it after like 2 months. It won't sell any more copies. And 4 months later, it's on PlayStation in 2 months.
It's not going to sell copies on the Xbox either. It's going to sell Game Pass.
That's the other problem with this is, like, Avowed is a game I really want to play. I'm not buying an Xbox just for Avowed. Indiana Jones is a great game I really want to play.
Avowed, I think, will come to PlayStation.
Perfect Dark. I'm not waiting for that. Perfect Dark. I think Perfect Dark probably won't. I think that's one that
I don't think so either. I think Perfect Dark will stay. Like I said, I can easily make the argument for Gears E-Day because of what it is, but I could also see a world in which we're going to keep Gears on the Xbox.
I think you could make an argument for most games. I think you and I both agree that putting something like Halo Master Chief on PlayStation would be one of the smartest things they could ever do.
Well, I don't think did I put the Halo thing in the news or no? Because otherwise I'll bring it up right now. So I did not. Okay. So this was not at the showcase, but it is heavily rumored that the decision they've made as far as Halo goes is supposedly they are remaking Combat Evolved.
Fine.
Again.
Okay.
Not like a straight up remake, not just like a remaster where you can click, the back button to switch graphics. That tells me, like, yeah, you're probably prepping that to put it out on PlayStation. But is that really the right move at the same time when you already have this collection of all these games? All the work's already done.
Yes.
And if you put that out tomorrow on the PlayStation Network, like, you don't even have to make a big deal about it and pick a date. You could literally put out an Xbox Wire blog post and be like, hey, Master Chief Collection is out on PlayStation tomorrow. It would dominate the sale for the next 3 months.
So insane.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Everybody would buy that. And I think that I think that's a better choice than spending the money, the time, and the resources to remake that game again. And then also at the same time, the other thing is, like, the way I look at it, and I'm more pessimistic on it when it comes to remaking the game, but what's not going to stop some dumb exec at Microsoft from going, well, since we're remaking it, we got this TV show. Why don't we just stick some elements from the TV show? Because it'll drive people to the show.
Right.
And then that conversation becomes, well, Steve Downs, he's getting kind of up there in age. What if we just got the fucking dude from the TV show to play Master Chief?
Right.
Then what does it become? You know? So I don't know. And like that brings up then the question for me, which is what do you do with Halo? And I've said before on the show, and I'll continue to say, if it was my decision, I would just reboot it. Start over. Nuke it. You can still have Master Chief. You can still have Cortana, but just nuke it and start it over. Here's the Master Chief. Here's his story. And you don't have to go all the way back to do Reach or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just tell a new story with him. But at this point, because the story has already gotten so convoluted anyways, because they tried in the last one, which I still think Infinite's a very good game, but they kind of tried to just ignore the events of Halo 5 and just move on to something else. But then like at the end of Halo Infinite, there's kind of like elements of maybe there was some time travel and stuff that happened. So
much.
It's a little too much. Yeah. But I don't know. So it was also interesting not to have anything Halo related at this showcase at all. Yeah. I thought maybe there'd be another team that would come and be like, hey, we're making this side Halo project. Because again, that's the other weird thing to me. You're Microsoft. You have more studios than you know what to do with at this point, right?
Well,
more than you close some, but you have more studios than you know what to do. Why not at this point? You have 343, which are the shepherds of Halo, but they've failed time and time again with Halo over and over again. Yet they keep letting them make more Halo games. Why not take Halo as a franchise and go to a different studio? What if you took Halo and you went over to id? Hey, make us something with the Halo franchise.
You could, but their hands are full right now. They've got, they've got plenty of other stuff that they
got Doom,
but it's.
But I'm saying you have so many other studios that you can't tell me there's not a studio that could pitch some interesting idea.
How many fucking Call of Duty studios you have now?
Yeah. You have so many Call of Duty support studios, right?
Get Raven to do something. Pull them off Call of Duty and have them do it.
Raven would be a good choice. I agree there. So, but that's another part of it, and that gets into a different conversation. But that to go back onto it with this showcase, that's something I don't think they did a good job of. Like they were never going to get up on stage and say that a specific game is coming to PlayStation at their own showcase. No. That's not going to happen.
No.
They'll never do that. No. But they didn't do anything to reassure Xbox fans that like they still have faith in any kind of exclusivity.
I don't need to go buy one today, and that's the biggest problem.
Not at all.
And then to announce, 3 new of this current console at the end.
Mistake.
And not have a price drop.
To announce a new S. Stop talking. Like the S is irrelevant.
I wish the S was over.
Yes.
I do.
Yeah.
Or just come out and realize like, hey, these games do work on the S, but they're not going to be as good.
Yeah.
Instead of having to have this absurd parity for that system.
Bullshit.
So that's something I really hope when we get to the next generation, they don't do that again.
Yeah.
I don't mind if you have, like, obviously it's probably going to be all digital, but let's say for sake of argument, it doesn't go that way. And there are disc versions, then do what PlayStation did. Here's a disc version. Here's a non-disc version. They're both the same system otherwise. Right. Do that.
Yeah.
So, but again, like, yeah, I'm of us three, I'm probably the most like happy about that showcase, most positive, but
I'm just very cautious.
I still have, I still have reservations on certain things. There's still
proven that all of these games are good.
I will say, like, 2024 is not a barren wasteland like it has been for the past couple of years.
No.
There are games, as long as they stick.
Yes.
As long as Avowed sticks, as long as this Flintlock game, as long as Stalker 2, if those games do come out and hit their dates, it's more games than we've had in the last couple of years in 1 year.
Yep.
But are you also going to really sit here and tell me all of these other games are going to come out in 2025?
No. Perfect Dark, definitely.
There will be things. Yeah. Well, Perfect Dark, no, but that didn't have a date. But like all these other ones, do you think they're all really going to hit in 2025? I don't think so.
Probably not.
Nope.
So, but as it stands with all the showcases this year, this was the best one.
By far. It wasn't even close.
Like there was no kind, like the state of play, just, I mean, Astrobot does look amazing.
Right.
But everything else that was whatever. The Summer Games Fest, a couple cool announcements, but too long.